What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Folks, we've got some big freaking news. Check this out. MAGA hails Donald Trump as peace president after India-Pakistan ceasefire. So in case you haven't heard, India and Pakistan have just recently started lobbing missiles at each other. I don't know if you heard the other day, there was the biggest dogfight, jet fighter dogfight since World War II, as a matter of fact. 125 jets were going at it, as a matter of fact. These are two nuclear-armed countries that were in active conflict with each other. This is probably the closest to a world war that we've been since the last World War. As a matter of fact, you could say we are in a world war right now. I wouldn't know if we would title it World War III, but considering all the conflicts that are going on all over the place, all the political polarization that we have all over the world, essentially. Of course, it's really hyper-polarized in America, but it's polarized in other places as well. A lot more than usual, if you will. So, we've got conflicts in Eastern Europe, we've got conflicts in the Middle East, several conflicts in the Middle East, conflicts in Africa, now conflicts on the Indian subcontinent. What are we doing here? You got China over in the Far East threatening Taiwan, threatening the Philippines. It's crazy right now. And Donald Trump comes in, the peace president, and almost immediately gets these people to sign a ceasefire to stop the hostilities. Now you might be thinking, well, how come he hasn't done that in Russia and Ukraine? I don't know. I can't give you that answer, folks. I can speculate all day long. I think that there is a real hatred between Zelensky and Putin. And I think Putin wants way too much. I think Putin is trying to pull a Donald Trump, trying to go for the big ask. And Zelensky is Putin deranged, and he's not having any of it. And Donald Trump is trying to get two toddlers, essentially, to come to the table to discuss something. And we all know toddlers do not have civil discussions. They absolutely don't. So I think that's what's going on in Russia. And as far as Israel is concerned, they are hell-bent on rooting out Hamas. And they don't care how they get to that rooting out of Hamas, that eliminating Hamas. They really don't care. And it has really, really cut into their popularity, if you will. There are many, many, many Israel deranged people out there now. These anti-Zionists, these anti-Semitic people that conflate all kinds of different issues when it comes to Israel, right? There is a vast difference between Israel and Jewish people. People constantly conflate a country with its people. A government is not its people. I know the people vote in the government, but the government acts autonomously outside of the will of the people, generally speaking. But I'm rambling, so let's get into this thing and see what's going on. After India and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire following pressure from the United States to ease military tensions, several Make America Great Again allies praised President Donald Trump, with conservative strategist Joey Manorino calling him a peace president. Yeah, what else would you call him at this point, right? He had several peace agreements from the Middle East in his first term. He's got two active peace agreements he's trying to work right now in Russia and in Israel. They're trying to get that ceasefire going. Yeah, I think he would be considered a peace president. He should have a Nobel Peace Prize at this point, but he doesn't, because there's so many people that are deranged with Donald Trump. They cannot compliment him for any accomplishment, any achievement that he may get. It's insane. Why it matters. The ceasefire, which Trump announced on Truth Social, comes after escalating hostilities and military confrontations between the two neighboring nuclear powers. It follows weeks of clashes, missile and drone strikes across their borders, triggered by a gun massacre of tourists last month that India blames on Pakistan, but the country denies. Now, this is a much deeper issue. Okay, the country may deny it. However, when your country supports and allows terrorists to operate within your country unfettered, yeah, you're going to get blamed for any acts of terrorism that those terror groups may cause. That is your fault, Pakistan, for allowing terrorism to fester in your country. It's also the fault of Iran, because a lot of that is backed by Iran, which is insane to me. It is insane. Pakistan needs to crack down on this if they want to be considered a serious country. They really do. They are to blame. Once again, if they allow these festering terrorist cells to operate within their country, I'm sorry. That is the fault of the country, not the well, it's also the fault of the terrorists, but it's also the fault of the country. You can split the blame on that. During the 2024 presidential campaign, Trump repeatedly pledged to end the Russia-Ukraine war on day one of his presidency. This is somebody who is clearly deranged with Donald Trump, because they're trying to bury the lead right here. This is just opinion added on top of this, because there was no need to mention Russia and Ukraine, or the fact that Donald Trump said he would end it on day one. Everybody knows you can't just come into office and automatically fly to Russia or fly to Ukraine and expect to work out some sort of ceasefire agreement or a peace deal immediately within 24 hours. Everybody knew, well, most people that weren't deranged with Donald Trump knew exactly what that meant. That means that this is going to be a priority. He's going to be starting to work on this from day one within 24 hours. It doesn't mean he's going to get it over the line and get it signed off on. But these people, they have no problems and are enthusiastic about mentioning that Donald Trump said he was going to have a peace agreement on day one within 24 hours, and he hasn't done it yet. It is what it is, though. Since taking office, his administration has led multiple efforts to secure ceasefires and negotiations in global conflicts. However, Russia's war in Ukraine has continued. The administration's guiding foreign principle is peace through strength. What to know? Trump announced India and Pakistan ceasefire on Saturday morning, posting on Truth Social. After a long night of talks mediated by the United States, I am pleased to announce that India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire. Congratulations to both countries on using common sense and great intelligence. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump's core supporters applauded Trump's involvement in the matter on social media. You know, I do wonder exactly how much Trump was actually involved with that, or if this is Marco Rubio's accomplishment or somebody else possibly. Like, I wonder who actually did most of the legwork on this. It's almost guaranteed it wasn't Donald Trump. But considering Donald Trump probably directed most of those people to go and get a ceasefire agreement done, that falls upon Donald Trump. Just like if those people fail, that also falls upon Donald Trump. Conservative commentator Manarino wrote in a Saturday X, formerly Twitter post in all capital letters. Why do they do that? There's a much easier way to phrase that. They could say conservative commentator Manarino posted on X, formerly Twitter, but instead wrote in a Saturday X, formerly Twitter post in all capital letters. Like, there's much easier ways to do this that it's not that confusing. That's just so confusing the way they do that. Why, corporate press? The peace president in full effect. Others echoed similar sentiments, such as retired U.S. General Mike Flynn, who briefly served as Trump's national security advisor during his first term, wrote on X. See what I mean by that? Like, oh, Jesus. The peace presidency. This is what Americans need more of. And he's totally right about that. We do need more peace agreements. I would love that at the end of Donald Trump's presidency, there are zero conflicts in the world. That would be nice. As a matter of fact, it would be really nice that by the end of the year, there are zero conflicts in the world. But, you know, the way things are going over in Russia and Israel, as a matter of fact, doesn't look like we're going to get there anytime soon, because Russia's asking for too much, Zelensky's asking for too much, and neither one of them are willing to compromise with each other, which is absurd. Zelensky wants Crimea back, which is not going to happen. And Russia wants to keep the Donbass, which is probably not going to happen. Once again, I think I need to jump in on that one because I believe that we could easily settle this by making an economic corridor through that region all the way to Crimea. Repair that bridge and allow Russia access through there, a wide, I don't know how many mile wide economic zone that would allow Russia to travel freely through that part of Ukraine. I think that would solve these issues. Because do I think that Russia actually cares about denazification? No, I don't. I think that was just an excuse to take his troops into that region to get access to that land bridge to Crimea. I think that's all Putin wants. It's expansionism, but not to the point of what the left is trying to, and Democrats and a lot of these neocons are trying to say, oh, well, Putin just wants to expand all over the place. He wants to take Poland and he wants to reunite the old Soviet Union. I just don't buy that. First, he doesn't have the capability to do so. He just doesn't. Second, I don't believe he has the ambition to do that, because if he had the ambition to do that, then he would be trying to do that. And it currently appears that he's not trying to do this. And I don't understand the argument coming from people that, oh, he's going to take over Poland and reunite the Soviet Union. There's no evidence at all of this, except he said that, yeah, it would be nice if we could do this. And that's what they use to fearmonger to everybody in the world, that, oh, Putin's going to invade everywhere now. It's absurd. All of it's absurd. But these people, they don't want to compromise at all. And what we saw from Donald Trump over here in India and Pakistan is two nations that are pissed off, belligerent, as a matter of fact, that are willing to compromise. Cool heads prevailed there. So why can't we do this other places? Well, it's the two countries. They don't want peace, folks. Zelensky does not want peace at all. He likes getting money from the EU and America. He likes being supported, propped up by these nations. And Russia has its own economic and political interests that it needs to keep in mind. It's as simple as that, folks. Has nothing to do with Putin wanting to conquest everywhere. It's ridiculous. It really is. But let's keep going. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said in a statement on Saturday that over the past 2 days, he and Vice President J.D. Vance have engaged with senior Indian and Pakistani officials, including Prime Ministers Narendra Modi and Shehbaz Sharif, External Affairs Minister Subramanian Jaishankar Subramanian Jaishankar Subramanian External Affairs Minister Subramanian Jaishankar, Chief of Army Staff Asim Munir, and National Security Advisors Ajit Doval and Asim Malik. I am pleased to announce the governments of India and Pakistan have agreed to an immediate ceasefire and to start talks on a broad set of issues at a neutral site. We commend Prime Ministers Modi and Sharif on their wisdom, prudence, and statesmanship in choosing the path of peace, Rubio wrote. So yay, cheers for the Donald Trump team for bringing us more peace and hopefully more to come. This is great, folks. This is what we're talking about here. But we have a lot further to go. He's got to get that war in Ukraine stopped. We just need this to come to an end. The one in Israel, not so much. That's not nearly as big of a disruption as the Russia-Ukraine war is. That's a much bigger, much broader conflict that's going on, right? Like Israel, it's contained within its own borders, essentially. Sure, you're getting a lot of folks upset about it over here in America, and a lot of folks in the EU upset about it, but, the conflict is still confined within a small area. It's not as widespread as it is in Russia and Ukraine. It's a much bigger conflict, right? Plus, the situation in Israel it's a lot less tense, if you will, because Gaza doesn't have a military, for crying out loud, and there's no fears of nuclear war, but at least between those. Of course, you got external factors like Iran and, you know, the Houthi rebels in all these places, but for the most part, that's pretty much self-contained in that one little area. So we're more worried about Russia and Ukraine. That's affecting a lot more economics, a lot more free trade, if you will. But, you know, I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Should we be cheering for this, or do you think this was an inevitable outcome that the Trump administration would come in? Or doesn't matter what administration would have gotten this across the line pretty damn quickly? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. That's all I got on this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.